was very wrong.
Same.
Anyways, so like if you guys don't know his voice, this is the other half of the channel. Yellowbat.
Hey guys.
He's amazing. He does all the visuals while I do the rest of it, but he's the 50-50 the other side of the coin. So we're gonna get into this and we're gonna rant a little bit.
This is where it all started. The Gaming University channel.
Like it's literally like this is the game that actually caused me to keep going with this. I would have stopped before this game came out, and then I said, you know what? I gotta keep going. We gotta keep doing this.
Yeah, that's how I found the channel, the Ahti video.
Legitimately.
I was like, hey, that's a cool video, and yeah, here we are.
Alrighty, so let's go ahead and get this. We're gonna rant. So headphone volume levels warning for anyone, because I am probably gonna squeal. Just saying it. So Yellowbat's already seen it. I have not. So let's get into it.
Let's go.
Okay, so we're back in the containment cell.
Do you feel it? Something is coming.
It better be.
Oh yeah.
What the? What am I looking at? Oh, coffee. And a croissant. Atlantic Cafe.
An intrusive pattern. Of staggering power.
This looks beautiful.
Oh yeah.
Reshaping
The art
reality as we know it.
Okay, this is Doctor Strange status right here.
Yep.
Mold is out.
Everything we
shit.
tried to keep inside
Oh, resist the urge, do not ingest.
eventually worms its way out.
It all got out. What the crap?
Everything.
All my fire break time seems wasted now. Shit.
A fool's errand.
Oh,
Must
okay.
have had good reasons. But we were not prepared.
He has hair.
He has long hair and a beard.
Oh,
For what would follow.
I'm interested because they're kind of making him more of the POV right now. Signal has gone rogue. Oh. Wait, are we playing Dylan in this one? Is Dylan the POV on this?
Maybe.
That might explain why. Oh shit! Then Firebite by Jesse's nowhere to be seen. What the shit?
Yep.
Megaton Hammer BS. Oh,
Devil May Cry shit.
you know what? I'm so happy for this guy. Since he was supposed to be like the lead in the Quantum Break, and now he gets to be the lead.
Yeah, same.
What the shit is all that?
Pace yourself. It's gonna get weirder.
2026, baby.
Next year. That's not even that much of a wait. We're almost done.
Oh yeah.
We're almost there. I was not expecting them to just switch the POVs for it.
Me neither.
Dylan's
But I
our
think-
MC, or is it a split protagonist?
Yes, I'm pretty sure it's going to be a split protagonist thing. I think we're going to have melee-focused combat with Dylan, and then ranged combat again with Jesse.
Oh, if we have two different gameplay styles based upon the character, that would be nuts. Because, like, we've never had, like, Remedy's never produced a melee-based combat system. It's always been third-person shooters.
And it looks cool.
Because they said they were going, like, RPG style in this whole thing, and I was like, okay, RPG, to say kind of, but no, looks like they're legitimately doing an action RPG.
Wow. Like, I loved everything I saw there.
I love seeing them stretch their legs and trying something new, because they've been with the same gameplay style since, what, Max Payne 1? Like, you can
yeah.
argue that a little bit of Firebreak was different and Crossfire X went into first-person shooters, but if they're going full action RPG, melee hack and slash...
Yeah, and those were not, like, main titles. They were, like, you know, little projects.
Little projects, but dude, that's... Okay, we need to start working our way back through this real quick. Give me a second.
Oh, yeah.
Give me a second. Okay, because, like, this...
We have to go through the story.
Oh, yeah, the whole freaking thing. So, we saw Estevez bumped into him in this containment cell before. So,
yes.
This is exactly where she left him in the lake house. Now, when do you think that happened, dude? Like, in terms of, like time being wonky in the dark place, like, when do you think that breach happened?
Because we're not necessarily sure that he is in the dark place, it's possible to say it happened the same time for Estevez as it was happening for Dylan. So, basically around 2023.
Because, like, we did see the symbol for Control 2 at the Ocean View during that scene in Lake House, correct? If I remember correctly?
Yeah.
So, like,
That's
technically speaking, the Spiral door and the Control 2 door are right across from each other within the Ocean View motel.
Yeah.
They're, like, literally facing each other. So it wouldn't surprise me if both doors opened at the same time and they kind of, like, looked at each other, if you know what I mean.
That's very interesting. Yeah, they kind of looked at each other. That's how Estevez was allowed to look through.
Dude, what has happened? Because, like, I've been wondering the entire time. Like, if anyone hasn't been seeing shameless plug, I've been doing a series on the Firebreak missions, and one of the biggest things that keeps coming up is where the heck is Jesse in all this? Because all this stuff can be easily solved and addressed.
I still don't think, like, she's MIA during that time. I think they say that she's just busy and stuff, because I don't think she's gone rogue then. I don't think that. This is all very different from the aesthetic of Firebreak. This is obviously like a year or two after Firebreak.
It's going to be the next year, definitely. Because, yeah, these games always take place in the year of the release. So Firebreak's 2025. This Control 2 is going to be in 2026. So it's going to be the following year. But holy dear. Okay. Let me just skip ahead. This is just more dialogue. Now, this here, it's...
It looks like a new type of resonance, doesn't it?
It definitely does. And it wouldn't surprise me if there's more than the two we've seen, because we've seen Hiss and Polaris.
Yeah.
Now, from what I understand, the Hiss originated from the burnt slide threshold, correct?
Right.
At least originally. And Polaris comes from the hand. But it sounds like the hand is a place where the Hiss and the Polaris kind of had a little face-off, so to speak.
War,
Yeah, there's a war going on there. And if our hypothesis about what was going on in the text-based adventure with the actor is accurate, that literally was showing the events of what occurred in there.
Could this be something that was born out of that battle?
Exactly. So, like, because the implication is the radiation. Because, like, this is kind of the inference I got from that hypothesis video, is that the radiation left behind by the giant bomb that the actor and Jezbet left was eventually evolved into what the Hiss is now. But if this is a different resonance start, but this is like more like geometric, which weirdly, okay. So there's this phenomenon called cymatics, and what that is it's the science of visible sound. And essentially what you do is you take sand, you put it on a flat surface, and then run like a current through it, like a tone or music, and it starts forming these types of random geometric shapes. So this literally looks like it's sitting on a speaker, and it's creating these cymatic forms.
Oh, I have seen that, yeah.
So this is literally visible sound, which would be the resonance. We're literally witnessing cymatics in that statement there.
And that transition to the coffee. Also, can I say, as a graphics nerd and as a visual person, this game, these graphics, this is insane.
This looks
how the bomb.
And I think it's funny that they have that cymatic form, and then it transitions over to the coffee cup, because again, you can see cymatics in liquids as well.
Yes, and we know the Hiss is sort of the visuals of the Hiss is based off of coffee. Like there was something weird they did with the visual effects and whatnot, but it was very much based off of coffee. So
I did not know
there could
that.
be some
That's
connection there.
That's interesting. Well, we do have the coffee monsters, which are the stand-in for Hiss, so who knows?
Right.
You are coffee. Sorry. It makes me want to go back and replay that Night Springs episode just to see if there's any kind of additional overlap. It's something I think
maybe.
I'm going to have to replay the whole fucking franchise at this point. Okay, anyways.
Everything.
So let's get back into this. So, yeah, we got this. I noticed that the coffee mug started duplicating. So we have some kind of altered item here that's got a duplicating effect, which we've seen that before.
Yes, it looks like... Do you remember that part in the AWE DLC? Those parts that stuff was just duplicating and
Yes.
fanning out, it looks like that.
And, like, we never really got a definitive, conclusive answer on what that whole deal was, but my inference was that it was things like reality was altering, and it was trying to, like, this is like a quantum superposition situation, where all these variations of reality could be occurring, and you visually see each and every one of them. So this is multiple realities layered on top of each other, and then it finally settles and condenses down to one. And that's, like, what it looks like here. Like, the image here, at first, when it froze, I thought, oh, quantum break stutters.
Yeah, exactly. I was gonna say these guys, they're like they're gonna make their sequels no matter what. They're gonna make Quantum Break 2 if they want it.
If we're going off on that hypothesis, the actor playing Dylan played another character in Quantum Break who, let's just say he was around a time machine for longer than he should have. And you know that he actually, I think he was starting to play the lottery or something like that, using time travel.
Yeah.
And like, it's part of the story. He literally started using the time machine to win the lottery. It's Lance, what was it, McDougal? I forgot the pseudonym he used.
Yeah.
Blanche McDougal is the pseudonym he was using. And I can't be the only one that hears Blanche and think Branch.
Oh my god.
Just 'cause it's so close.
The actor playing Branch was a replacement for this actor. So you could say in a different branch of reality, this actor was playing that. Oh, okay, all right.
So, like, this is the artwork of that actor is a stand-in. I think he was just being a stand-in for the tests on the videos, but he was playing the main character at the time, and he later they cast Sean Ashmore as the main character, but he was a stand-in. So in a certain branch reality, he was involved in the whole Quantum Break.
You could even say that they just showed us the first trailer of Quantum Break they showed was just of a different reality, a different...
And that's exactly how the Quantum Break universe works, is because even the book is described as being, this is another variation, another universe, another set of possibilities for this story. In the intro to it, they mention it. So Okay. And because basically what this is it all condenses. If this is what I'm presuming this is what this is that you're just looking at some quantum superposition and it's condensing down, or it's starting to split.
Yeah.
But it's doing so specifically in that kind of somatic way. And okay, what's this? Thomas backwards?
Oh yeah, on the left we can see it.
Way. So
Thomas Street.
We're on Thomas Street. Why are we on Thomas Street?
Yeah.
So for anyone watching this right now, I'm literally working on a video regarding the Thomas here that should be out hopefully in a few weeks.
Sometime in the future.
In the future. All right, this is Dean from the following morning. So I'm dumb here. I know exactly why we have Thomas Street there. So the oldest house is situated on 34 Thomas Street in-game. It's based upon an actual building at 33 Thomas Street out in Lower Manhattan. So makes sense. But do you think the people who are, like the average people experiencing this, are they freaking out, or do they just accept this as natural?
They have to be freaking out.
Well, but we also know that sometimes their perception of things can be altered as well. So they may perceive this is how it always was. But okay, and here's the little thing about the title too. Like, I don't know. That's just me going all Dogen tinfoil hat right now. But if they use the term resonant, it makes me wonder if we're literally talking about a merging of realities. Because, like, the whole thing with resonance is you have multiple sound waves, and you want them to line up into the exact same waveform with the same frequency and amperage so that they resonate with one another. And what that does is it effectively increases the volume. It increases the amperage when you have two tones vibrating at the same frequency. But that means that we need to take completely separate wavelengths, which is two separate realities, and then bringing them back into conjunction with one another.
Is that what we're gonna try to do in the game? Sync everything up so, order is brought back from chaos?
I mean, like, it sounds like we're definitely gonna have to remerge this back in with how the reality should be, whether that be through different time streams, where it's like, okay, we have to resonate this back in if we're going with the quantum break theories. But there's also a hypothesis. I'm working on an archivist video on the slide projector. And one thing that has been going on in the back of my head is I'm wondering if part of the ordinary AWE involves slipping into a different variation of reality. It's a thought that's been in the back of my head, and I'm not going to say more about that here. You guys can enjoy the video when I finally get it done. I get off my rear end and finally write it. But that's just a thought that's been going on in my head. So Ian will definitely be having some theories as well. Anyways, let's keep this going. Okay, so yeah, Thomas Street, that's not a coincidence whatsoever. That's probably the same bird there. Do not ingest. Okay, so if this is up here, that means they're telling this to the civilians.
Because we know the mold really makes you want to ingest it.
No, yeah, because it smells so sweet and delicious. Okay, let's just move forward, because this is the thing I wanted to talk about anyways. So now we got the hiss out. So how would you contain this once it gets out?
I would propose a nuke at this point.
just be like Ellen Ripley, just nuke it from orbit. So the way to be sure.
Just Raccoon City it, man. There's no way.
I mean, like, the only possible way is to set up large-scale HRAs around the entire city as a containment, but I doubt they have that developed. I mean, who knows if they have?
New York is right next to water, isn't it?
Yes.
Like, as soon as it gets into the water, it's done.
Yeah, because the second it hits that, it's water sends sound waves very easily. It conducts sound waves very
exactly. Easily. If it's in the water, then it's basically in all the continents.
Very, very quickly. Holy shit.
Yeah, and imagine the submarines can just send them to each other.
Yep. Okay, so this right here. My concern is because we've seen throughout Firebreak cases where some people were just trying to break out of containment just to get out. Because let's be honest, 6 years stuck inside your workplace with all these
7 years when the game comes out.
Yeah, exactly. Probably somebody succeeded.
That is true. I don't know. Which one do you think is Ian?
Dude, don't. I'm stuck with my fingers crossed for that. We're not saying anything just yet. Yeah. But dude, because we have we got the mold. We have the exogenic mass. We have the leeches situation. The furnace would probably stay contained. And honestly, the ski lift will probably stay contained to its area.
It will, yeah.
I don't think that'll escape outside the house, but mostly it's going to be the hiss, the mold.
Yes, but also what I'm concerned about, and we'll see it later with the enemy types, is how they're evolving with access to much, much, much wider audience. I don't know if it gets control of the radio systems, the emergency radio systems of all the different places in the city. It can evolve very fast, and we see that it kind of does. The monsters we see later are crazy.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I saw that briefly, but I was kind of fanboying way too much. I didn't catch everything.
Yeah.
All right, so she's just hanging out here. And this has to be a good deal longer. Okay, so we got stuff in the slide projector right here. What are you?
Ordinary AWE.
So it's AWE24, so we're talking about the ordinary AWE. This is a new photo. We've never seen this before.
Yes.
Okay, so what is this artwork here?
It looks like the new resonance that we saw.
Okay. And this must be a lot longer after the scenario with Estevez, just because his hair is so much further grown out.
We don't necessarily know that because of the next scene, but most importantly here, we see the very, very, at this point they should trademark it, the sign of a Remedy sequel is the main character now has long hair and a beard. And that is a proven point now.
Very, very true. That is canon. Okay, so he's still waking up. So do you think that the scenario with Dylan sitting in containment is him within his dream?
I think so.
That's the impression I'm getting as well. Is it's inside of a mental scape while he's still sitting here in a coma. And Jesse did catch a vision of that briefly. So okay. And why are you trying to either A, kill him, or B, just wake him up? I don't know. So he felt it. The impact. He felt it. Yeah, inside of this mental scape, he actually felt that impact. That's what that was. Okay.
So I'm pretty sure she just wanted to give that to him, give the melee service weapon. So here's what I meant with the hair. Here we see him still with short hair and short beard. In his mental world, where we see him as Estevez, he has like a stubble and short hair. But in the real world, he it's all grown out. So I think he's stuck at that sort of the last state he saw himself in. In his head, he still thinks he's like at that state, but in reality, it's obviously more grown out.
No, of course, yeah, it's his self-image right now. That's how he perceives himself. So, but the thing is, what was that pipe? Was that just a regular pipe? Because the second she throws it in there, and
definitely
appears,
not.
But it's speaking like the board right now. So, is this like a version of the service weapon?
It's like if you turn on the volume, it sounds like a very distorted version of the board, and it actually sounds like the words that it's trying to say.
Okay, let me listen to this real quick. The cadence is there.
Yes, exactly. That's like what I mean. And if there are 3 words written, there are 3 words said. It's just a different language now, which is different than the board, which to us it was, and even Jesse says, it was just noise.
Yeah,
but
it was. She could understand it. Yeah, she kind of intuitively understood it. But do you know, like, I've never really looked into the audio design of the board speak. Has anyone cracked it where it's kind of like spliced up, reversed? Like, how did that?
Yes.
How do they record that?
They officially said that in the canon, it's supposed to be the voices of all of the directors combined and like distorted. That's like canonically every time a new director comes by, they're added to the voices. In the game, though, in terms of technicality, it's just Trench's hotlines being remixed and very much distorted.
Oh, so they actually use the Trench hotlines to make the board sounds?
Yeah, completely.
Says, I'm just trying to understand why in this place Dylan would be able to understand them better than Jesse does out in reality.
I have a different hypothesis because we see these subtitles are different. They're much more bold. They do not have the white background, that black text on a white background, and it sounds more throaty. It sounds very much different. Well, we'll see this more later, but could it be Jesse trying to mentor him and maybe like through the voice of something like the board, because that's what he knows? Or could it even be just the distorted voice of the board that's distorted after the hiss?
Dude,
a sick version.
Dude, I just had a crazy thought. I had just had an insane thought. So what we just saw was Jesse taking an aspect of the service weapon,
right,
slamming it down, I don't know if it's into or onto him, and then all of a sudden this drops down into the desert and he's able to hear and communicate with it, right?
Right.
Just like the nail down to the foundation.
Oh.
What if literally Jesse created a new nail connecting her reality down into the cognitive reality of Dylan, but then above us, the board is casting a different nail down into our reality as if we are a cognitive reality instead. So you got the inception layers of things.
Yeah. This is just one layer lower.
It's just one tier lower, and where the board exists is just one. It's kind of like Jesse standing over him in a coma, but this is his reality while in a coma. It's the same thing. Just
exactly. And the scale makes sense because the nail is this like ginormous thing to Jesse, and to us when we see it, it's this overpowering big structure. And here to him, this is an overpowering big structure. But in reality, it's just a small...
because that's this right here, actually. Oh, just one of my videos just showed up. Anyways.
Hey.
That was a complete accident. It's kind of like if anyone has seen the movie The 13th Floor. I don't know if you're familiar with that.
I'm familiar, yes.
Yeah, that's the thought I just had. But that just begs the question, what does the reality look like one tier above us?
I mean, I have no idea. I hope we don't find out.
Ooh. What if that new resonance that Dylan is seeing is Jesse?
That could be true. And the drawing we saw was Jesse trying to come up with the resonance with Polaris. Like, Jesse is now resonant.
Well, that's how he perceives her because they're out of phase in reality, correct?
Right.
Which implies that the Hiss and Polaris themselves, if you go one tier up, are something different. They may be human. But only
To themselves, yes.
to themselves they're human, but we only perceive them as resident space because they're one tier out of phase.
That's very interesting.
That'd be freaking nuts. Okay. Let's see this. And then the service weapon basically gets dropped down to him and used as a melee weapon. Okay. The sibling has gone rogue and fishing.
This does not read like the board. It reads like someone trying to mask themselves as the board. I think Jessie is trying to, again, act like she's the board to him, and she's gone rogue.
I mean, like, if she's going fishing, that would imply to me that she's doing short excursions outside the oldest house, going out, coming back in, you know what I mean? But the one thing I want to point out right here is they refer to her as the sibling, which is the title used in the Night Springs episode.
Yes.
That's what they refer to that character. So maybe whoever this is talking is just a fan of the TV show, who knows?
Maybe. Or, again, could be just the TV show slowly, like, making its changes in reality and going towards the story that Alan wanted to tell.
Okay, now that I'm thinking about it, dude, how cool would it be if the 3 episodes of Night Springs we got, so we got the Rose episode, which kind of overlaps with somewhat her role in Alan Wake 2.
Right.
Kind of, sort of. What if the Coffee World episode overlaps with what Control 2 is going to end up being? And then the third one with Timebreaker crosses over with Quantum Break 2.
I think both the second and third one actually overlap with this game.
You think the third one does it too?
I think it's going to, because I don't think they have any hopes for Quantum Break 2. I don't think they even want to do it. I think they're exploring the ideas that they wanted to explore with this. Do you know what I mean? Like, we saw it with the pigeon shot and everything. I think they just want to take time travel out of it and just explore it here, the different universes and everything.
Yeah, because it seems like that's what they were going to do with Quantum Break 2 anyways.
Yeah, so instead of a time thing, they're going with a resonance thing.
Okay. Which kind of is the same thing depending on what branch of physics you're looking at.
Right, yeah.
Okay. Because, like, I think it'd be really cool if a lot of the stuff that happened in that text adventure ends up playing out in here. Like, not word for word, but enough of an overlap and a thematic echo. Ooh.
That would be very cool.
Ooh, wouldn't this be a cool thought? Sorry, I'm just theory crafting at this point. But how nuts would it be if, in the aftermath of the whole scenario, just talking about the Ouroboros and the series we just started right now with the Old Gods, about the cyclical nature of things, wouldn't it be crazy if the conflict in the text adventure that led to Agent Jespet's death, or with the explosion, ended up splitting her to becoming Polaris in the first place, that then goes back and infects herself at a different point in time in the spiral?
Based on Alan Wake 2, that's very, very, very much possible.
That's literally herself. That's the voice in her head. Okay. Yeah, so this is definitely the service weapon. It's just he perceives it like that, which very much is in line with what we know about the service weapon. The only reason it's a gun right now is because that's what we perceive as a gun. So to him, it's more of a melee. Dude, that's crazy.
God, this game looks so cool.
Just look at that. Okay, so parting, one night only. Why do they have a sunset poster here?
Oh my god.
Oh god. So Alice's film is here for some reason?
Yeah. Follow the voices. If you play it on top of the poster, it says follow the voices.
That's really hard to see, but that's what it says, follow the voices.
Yeah, I have it on 4K here, and it says follow the voices, and behind it there's a poster of Ahmabir.
Oh, okay, it makes sense. You got to have the Ahmabir. So parting, what does parting have to do? Like, we have sunset, but parting...
One night only. If we were to take what happened in Alan Wake 2 as 2023, 2 years would make sense for Alan to basically be like, I need to publish these videos, and I need to tell Alice's story, and maybe this is him trying to get her out through retelling the story that she tells through those videos, and like releasing them as an actual...
Do you know what this text down at the bottom says?
Doors open like 18, showtime 20, so it says free entry. This is not a movie, it's a I think it's an art exhibit.
Well, if they have Sunset right here, that makes sense if he's showing off Alice's work. Follow the Voices. I wonder if that has something to do... This is just getting into the ARG that's going on right now for Control 2 for the Siren Society.
Oh, yeah.
Which is Poe.
That could be very true.
Because, yeah, you follow the sirens. So what would happen if Samantha Wells was assisting in this art exhibit? Because that's going to essentially... The inference we get in Lake House is Poe's character in-universe is Samantha Wells.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, I forgot about that.
And she's a musician. And she managed to escape the lake house in the dark place back in 2023.
That's very true.
So that's definitely a possibility there. Okay, sorry, we've been paused on the screen for way too long. Get this rolling. So okay, so he can divide whatever this shard is into 2 versus 1 and take various forms. Okay.
So I'm guessing like a heavy weapon or 2 like light weapons.
You're up. Okay. So I don't know, like just the phrase right there saying "you're up." I don't know.
That's not the board.
It's definitely saying like, "Hey, you have to take the active role in this one." Kind of like you're playing a 2-player game, and your first player goes down, so second player, you're up.
Exactly.
And don't you love how when we had this scenario in the Lake House DLC,
the Lake House.
We just presumed that it was Jesse.
Yeah, they had long hair, and we were fooled. These new enemies are insane.
Are you? Because like we have all these like extra limbs. They look kind of like tree branches.
Branch?
Okay, so yeah, just looking at these hands. It's a variation of the hiss, but it's got more like organic. Okay, and here's going to be a lot of the hiss agents probably propagating, or maybe not hiss because it's not red.
It's not red exactly. It's more like monochrome.
Yeah, so it's probably agents of the different resonance then. Where are we in here?
And this is the subway.
Oh, this is the subway. Okay. It sounds like in this mental scape, they're sending Dylan off into the New York City itself. Which, how would that influence reality up on the top level? Unless he's just astral projecting right now.
I think this is the reality, dude.
Like real reality.
He has long hair here and a beard. Like he doesn't have his.
Yeah, this is definitely long hair. So he did wake up at some point.
He will like that was his wake up call, where they're putting the service weapon into him or next to him or whatever.
Or something. Yeah. The thing is with the service weapon is no one but the director can wield it, so you would have to have the board allow for it. Unless we go off with the hypothesis that whole stipulation is a lie, because we know it's a lie, because we see other objects of power being bound to people without the board being involved. Right.
Or maybe did Jesse make this like extension of the service weapon just for him? Because I would doubt that Jesse doesn't have a service weapon. We'll see it at the end of the trailer, but in her shot, where we see her briefly. Let me see if I can see a service weapon on her hip.
Let me see. Let me just scroll forward real quick.
She has like a...
what are you? I'm trying to find the point of the video.
What is this? Yeah, this is the...
I have no
most
idea.
Different. This looks like something out of a... Not a Remedy game. No. And that's very cool. Yeah.
Okay, so where do you say the thing with Jesse?
Yeah. Also, where is Jesse going? What is this? Is this the higher level of reality?
I don't know, because like the inference we got with the nail is if you look straight up, you see aspects of the astral plane leaking down. So right. I don't know if we're saying the astral plane is what is one tier up for us, or if that's just a different plane entirely. I mean, you can make the argument that if we're going off on this hypothesis that our reality is technically one tier higher than the game's reality, if we're going off in that type of thought process. But
I think maybe more than one tier higher.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, our reality is higher because to us these are video game characters, little characters on a screen. But to themselves they're normal sized, obviously.
Yeah. And we know there's a connection. Like the great thing about Remedy lore is legitimately our reality influences the game reality. That's canon to the plot line. I mean, we see Sam like literally being kidnapped by Mr. Scratch at one point.
Yeah.
So like we know there's a link there. But okay, let me see if I can go back. I just want to watch this combat section. Yeah, because this is definitely propagating resonance, but it's not the hiss.
It is not the hiss.
It's not the hiss. Okay, so yeah, this is definitely... Yeah, subway's right there. What is this? It definitely...
Yeah, exactly.
Like, it's upside down in some way. You want to know what this reminds me of? Reminds me in...
Ashtray Maze?
Crossfire X with all the MC Escher paintings.
Oh.
Because you know how Crossfire X included Escher a lot?
Yeah.
Like, not that there's a, like, lore connection there, just, like, vibe connection.
Yeah, exactly.
Wait, this is... Okay, this is just a mold area.
This is the mold.
Whatever the crap that is, and whatever the crap this is. And that just goes up to... Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'm definitely gonna be, throwing in my pre-order. Oh, dude.
Yep.
Steam.
Exactly. That was I got the most hype for that. We finally
get a launch on Steam. Oh my gosh. You know how good that's gonna go for them?
Please. Like they're launching everywhere. Like
yeah, if they're launching on every platform simultaneously, that is going to kill it. Because I think that's what hurt them previously is they had too many exclusives like that, but if it's going on Steam, yeah, this is gonna be a hit, dude.
Yes. And so in the Game Awards, they basically opened it with a live reenactment of the ending of Control 1. It was very cool. So
I gotta go check that. Oh, hold on. Oh, dude. And they did this live?
Yeah. They did this live.
That is insane. Wait, is that actually him? Or is that just a stunt actor?
Just a stunt performer.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I was gonna say, if he's pulling it off, so damn.
So they basically played the ending
of him getting cleansed, yeah. And then descending down into the cell. So this is this is definitely his perspective of things. He immediately gets dropped down into here, and he feels like he's moving around and awake. But higher up, he's not. He's asleep. Honestly, it just brings me... Hold on.
Something is coming.
And then they go straight into the trailer. Dude, this must have been nuts. I'm gonna go watch a bunch of reactions to this. I'm gonna while you're working on putting this together, I'm gonna be watching all of those.
Yeah, then they just play the trailer.
But yeah, I definitely am getting the idea that what the resonance is it's just how an extra dimensional being a tier above us communicates and is perceived here. Because
exactly.
Have you ever I don't know if you've ever looked at this, but there's the essay called Flatland, and it's basically
I don't think so.
Okay, it's basically a thought experiment on how a two-dimensional being would perceive a three-dimensional being. So if something that only exists in two dimensions, and if you put your finger down through that plane of existence, all they see is a literal black line cutting them off from everything. So then you would question, how does a fourth-dimensional being be perceived in a three-dimensional reality? So it feels like that's what this resonance is supposed to be.
That makes sense.
Which would be nuts. What's that world look like?
I think that world, how it looks like, is what Jesse will be looking at.
Mm-hmm.
Or looking for, rather.
I mean, if you want to go with the narrative parallels, you can say that while he's stuck down there at the bottom, I wouldn't call them twins because one of them's a year older than the other, but they kind of like treat them as if they're twins, you know what I mean? But if one's in tier 1, which is where Dylan is, and Jesse's in tier 2, both of them ascending up for him going from 1 to 2 and her going from 2 to 3 at the same time as a direct parallel to each other.
That makes complete sense, yeah.
And it's kind of a requirement to get him to come back up. Which means, where does she go?
So, this is gonna be a complete tinfoil hat theory.
Okay.
But let's say Jessie was going out and she finds Alan Wake. And she tells Alan about the situation. Alan tells her about the fact that you can't really write an ending to this without a sacrifice. You can't bring back Dylan to life without a sacrifice. So she makes herself, basically write herself, going rogue while writing a new North Star for Dylan. And like she's like, all right, I'm gonna go to this expedition that is most likely going to kill me, and that is going to be enough of a price to pay for Dylan to be able to wake from, you know, the coma.
If we're going with the logic of the Dark Place, then yes. I don't know if they're going to include Dark Place stuff in this one. Most likely, I think Tim Breaker's going to show up. Personally,
yeah,
like you can't have these three characters, like him, like get the three original actors back together from Quantum Break. You just got to do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you just gotta have a scene, and also like Barry is gonna show up as well. We know that.
I was gonna say that. Yeah, he has to show up, and that brings into good question: is the Blessed Organization involved in this whole scenario? It kind of has to. They prepped it.
Absolutely.
They prepped it with Barry joining that cult.
You know, they're spamming on Twitter. They're spamming on Twitter about how they don't want you to eat the mold because they don't want you to realize the powers it gives you.
Oh, jeez.
And
they're memeing about it already.
Oh, yeah.
Alright, so yeah, I think that's pretty much everything we got on here.
I'm excited.
Dude, I'm excited too. I can't wait to get into this. Like, just this trailer alone gives us so much to dissect and theorize about. We're going to be having a bunch of stuff's coming out.
It's going to be a big one, and it's 2026. I cannot believe it's 2026.
I'm so glad they're so close to the release. Do you think it's going to be like Q2, Q3?
As much as I want them to not be close to GTA 6, I'm saying November.
You're saying November.
Either late November, which would be very close to GTA 6, which is extremely risky.
I don't think they're... the reason I don't think they're going to do that... only because they're currently collaborating with Rockstar for the funding of the Max Payne games. So they're probably talking to each other about stuff like this right now.
I don't think they're talking about Control necessarily. I think that would... If it was Max Payne, they would be, but...
No, I mean,
in
terms of like working together, because Rockstar has a vested interest in... the Max Payne remakes going well, so they want to make sure Remedy, they're both happy at the end of the day. So they're probably going to be working with each other to make sure both launches work perfectly for GTA 6, this game, and the Max Payne game remakes.
Yeah.
So
I'm locking in my guess at mid-December.
Honestly, I didn't know GTA 6 had a release date. I thought that was going to be like 2050 or something.
No, GTA 6 has a release date at November, I think 19th of November or 20th. Correct me in the comments, but yeah.
Gotcha. I'm just memeing at this point. I have no idea. I've never played a GTA game in my life. Oh, gosh. So, yeah, I think we're going to end this off here. I'm going to probably immediately start writing stuff as soon as we finish.
And I'm going to immediately start editing this exact thing. Hopefully you'll see it soon.
Hopefully, yeah. See you shortly, and thanks for joining me on this and letting me know, because now I'm going to go freak out for the next hour. Luckily, no one's here to listen to me squeal, but we're good. Can't embarrass myself.
Hell yeah.
Anyways,
only the cat's there.
Only the cats and the dogs. Yep. Samwise the Brave and Mrs. Zoe are here to listen to me be a weirdo, but that's about it. Anyways,
shout out.
Thank you all for joining us for this little first-time reaction and initial thoughts analysis, and we'll see you everyone shortly.
See you guys.
E aí, pessoal, tudo bem? Aqui quem fala é o Edu. Galera, é o seguinte, estamos aqui para conferir gameplay de Hogwarts Legacy. Eu até buguei falando aqui porque é o início de gameplay, mas é o início de uma série também. E esse aqui é o meu primeiro contato com Hogwarts Legacy. Vou jogar na versão de PC. Esse aqui é a tela de início de gameplay, creio eu. A gente recebe essa carta aqui da escola de Hogwarts, né? Então, vamos lá. Temos o prazer de informar sua inscrição na Escola de Magia e Bruxaria de Hogwarts como estudante do 5º ano. As piadas de 5º ano. As aulas começam em 1º de setembro. Suprimentos preliminares foram coletados e irão acompanhar você em sua jornada
Hey, everybody, guess what just dropped at the Game Awards? Control 2 trailer. I was literally sitting here doing absolutely nothing.
Greetings, true believers. Matt from Hidden Machine here to talk about...
Hey, everybody, guess what just dropped at the Game Awards? Control 2 trailer. I was literally sitting here doing... Remedy Entertainment's 2019 release, Control, is finally getting a sequel. For many, we have been looking forward to this for 6 years. For others, you may be asking, what is Control? Regardless of which camp you're in, I've got you. This video will act as a crash course for everything you need to know about the setting before Control Resonant. For starters, I would recommend playing through the franchise yourself. However, if you don't have the time, resources, or simply are looking for a refresher, this video is for you. Be advised that this will not cover everything. After all, a full breakdown of Control's lore would make this a 12-hour video alone, not even counting the other games in the franchise. So I will condense this down to all the major points. If you want a complete summary, just let me know in the comments below. So let's get going into the Newcomer's Guide to Control lore. What better place to begin than the game's namesake? The Federal Bureau of Control, or FBC for short, is a clandestine government agency tasked with responding to paranatural threats to our perceived reality. The motto, as shown in their seal, is Invenio Investigatio Imperium, find, research, and control. For those familiar with the SCP Foundation, yeah, that's basically it. The FBC's headquarters is located at 34 Thomas Street in New York. The skyscraper itself is a place of power, a paranormal construct known as the Oldest House. It is a building that is bigger on the inside than on the outside, infinitely growing based upon the needs of those who occupy it. The Oldest House also has a property where only those specifically looking for it are able to find it. As a result, citizens walking past it on the street are unable to see it, a place of power that doesn't like attention and conceals itself in plain sight, just like the agency who resides inside. Inside, the place is broken up into several sectors. Executive is home to the director and management staff. Maintenance repairs the building, keeps the lights on, and deals with the cleanup of anything that doesn't belong. Research is home to the scientists who spend their days trying to rationalize and quantify the paranatural world. The Panopticon houses dangerous artifacts and prisoners who would pose a threat to the world if allowed to run wild. And Investigations is the internal affairs and law enforcement wing of the FBC. However, there is more than this. Another feature of the Oldest House is that it acts as a nexus point that branches out into all other realities, much like another great tree, Yggdrasil. If each branch on that tree is another world, then the Oldest House is the trunk. As such, it has no home dimension. Our world, after all, is just another branch on that great tree. If we take this analogy further, the roots of the tree travel down into the foundations, where Paleolithic cave drawings depict the worship of unknown beings. Standing in the heart of it all is a giant black monolith structure known only as the Nail. It is there that contact with an alien intelligence known as the Board was made. We will come back to this later. On August 4th, 1964, FBC staff accidentally came across the bowels of the house while investigating a different occurrence. Initially, only the foundation was stable. The upper floors acted as an amorphous and ever-changing interior. Individuals who traveled up there would go missing and never be recovered. Eventually, with the help of a scientist named Dr. Theodore Ash Jr., the place became stabilized and the FBC moved their operations into the house proper. Even though we have in-game records showing the FBC existed at least as far back as the turn of the 20th century, the 1960s is where it evolved into the modern form we know now. That's enough of a primer. We have many other topics to cover. As mentioned in Part 1, the FBC investigates paranatural intrusions upon our reality. Largely, these take 3 different forms. While there is some overlap between them, let's tackle them one at a time. Altered items are mundane objects which are holders of paranatural forces. Some within the FBC believe they are conscious. In some cases, they have been shown to require some form of worship to remain passive. whether that form simply be attention or ritual sacrifice. Others are more volatile and need to be contained within a black rock cell. Black rock is a mineral from another dimension that creates a facsimile of a Faraday cage, cutting off the altered item's ability to act up. This is not a universal solution, however. Black rock only disrupts wavelengths between a certain frequency range. Some altered items resonate at a frequency that is blocked by the mineral, some are dampened, and others are unaffected. One example of an altered item is the Victorian mirror. It creates a mirror dimension that reflects back an inverted version of the world with minor variations. This only works for a certain radius around the mirror itself. If the mirror is moved while someone is inside, they become trapped forever. Objects of power are similar but act in a different manner. While they also have unique effects on their own, they are capable of being bound to a para-utilitarian, allowing that individual to borrow the innate power to use at will. The strength of this power is determined by the individual. For example, the floppy disk allows the user to perform feats of telekinesis. Some para-utilitarians in the research sector bound the OOP and could throw pencils and cups a few feet away. However, people like Director Faden have been shown to launch chunks of granite over 50 yards with lethal force. This ability to bind objects is claimed to be facilitated by the board. Their binding ritual is performed by traveling into a reality called the astral plane and passing their trials. Out of the OOPs, the most important ones are the service weapon and the hotline. The former is a weapon that can only be wielded by the board-appointed director. Its form changes based upon what the wielder perceives as a weapon in their cognition. As a result, it is said that legendary weapons such as Excalibur, Mjolnir, and Veronostra are just incarnations of this service weapon. The hotline is a telephone that can tap into the network of other dimensions, allowing communication with the board, those residing in other realities, or even with the dead. Thresholds is a term used to describe these other dimensions. Given certain conditions, the oldest house can resonate at a specific frequency that opens doorways to these thresholds. Examples are the Blackrock Quarry, where the mineral is mined, the Mold Threshold, the Dark Place, the Mirror Threshold, and the Ocean View Motel, to name a few. We will talk about some of these more in detail later. These thresholds can form out in the wider world as well. Usually this is as a result to other places of power like Cauldron Lake, the influence of altered items like the antenna loop radio, or objects of power such as the slide projector. Altered World Events, or AWEs, is a catch-all term for any occurrence of these paranatural forces acting up. They can be instances of a new altered item causing havoc out in the world, such as the human handchair that causes gravitational anomalies at the full moon, or a threshold opening up like the stable opening to the Dark Place at Cauldron Lake in Bright Falls. FBC Ranger staff are trained in AWE responses and threshold exploration. Central to FBC and Objects of Power is the Board. This is a choir of extra-dimensional entities that appears to be bound inside the oldest house. Upon first finding their way inside, the acting director at the time, Broderick Northmore, was the first to come into contact with them. Prior to this, all directors were appointed by Washington, D.C. From now moving forward, the board decides on the director. These entities gifted him with the service weapon to act as a symbol of his authority, and the hotline to communicate with them freely. However, they have been shown to be controlling and do not permit dissent. The subsequent director Zachariah Trench listened to their input but did not truly trust them. Then the following director Jesse Faden was threatened on multiple occasions on what would happen if she disobeyed. Once, they instructed her to remove all staff from the Foundation so they could not investigate the nail. Failing to do so would result in negative consequences. On another occasion, a related entity known as Former began to communicate with her. They informed Director Faden that if she believes the Former's lies, they will ensure she ceases to exist in this reality at all. Former was at one point a member of the board, but there was a disagreement and it was banished. Ever since, it has wandered about, occupying altered items such as the Arctic Queen refrigerator or the Pink Flamingo. Down in the Foundation, it aided Jessie in her fight with the Hiss and the Broken Nail. After these events, we see that Former was able to slip out of the astral plane and into the Foundation itself. Its motives are unknown to us at this time. At the end of the day, this group of entities appears to concern themselves with their own goals and uses the FBC as a tool to achieve them. When obeyed, they give power. When confronted, they become angry. While they do claim that only through them objects of power can be bound, we see several times this is not the case. Outside of the oldest house, some objects of power were used by others, and the board was not involved. There may be a universal method to accomplish this that the board is aware of but chooses to keep it a secret. In that way, they are perceived as the giver of power, rather than simply a middleman. Earlier in this section, I mentioned the nail. Down in the foundation is a megalithic black stone that appears to have been pierced deep into the earth. As the name suggests, it acts as a tether or anchor that binds two dimensions together. In this case is the physical link between the foundation of the oldest house and the astral plane. Through this connection, the board is able to remain bound to the house, and by extension, this reality as a whole. The role of FBC director comes with a responsibility that far exceeds other government heads. It includes not only managing the operations of the Bureau, but also the very lives of the employees and the fate of the world as a whole. After the discovery of the oldest house, the board became involved. Great power was also gifted to those who occupy the big chair. This responsibility was taken in different ways by different individuals. Let's take a look at all those we know about. Director Theodore Ashe is not to be confused with his son, Dr. Theodore Ashe Jr., who was the head of research during this and the following administration. Not much is known about this director since he passed away shortly before the oldest house was discovered. He spent his career searching for proof of the unknown and died right before it was found. His son saw it as the greatest of ironies. After his death, a bureaucrat from Washington, D.C. was appointed to run the Bureau. Here enters Director Broderick Northmore. Shortly after he assumed the role, the oldest house was discovered. Staff first entered in through the foundation and discovered the nail. At first, there was nothing else down here. However, the following day, an altar appeared before it with the service weapon laid out. Northmore became the first director to be appointed by the board directly and was gifted the service weapon as a symbol of his authority. From that point forward, this ritual fed into his pre-existing ego. He claimed that all prior directors were frauds. Anyone appointed by man was a false ruler, while only board-appointed directors mattered. Northmore spiraled and became a zealot for the board, obeying their every command. Soon after the upper floors became stabilized, he was ordered to remove all staff from the foundation permanently. Over time, Director Northmore had his bureau uncover more objects of power and began to bind all of the ones he could to give him greater power. Eventually, this became too much and he lost control, becoming a danger to himself and others. When confronted, he eventually agreed to step down and have his enormous power sealed away inside a device known as the Northmore Sarcophagus Chamber, otherwise known as the NSC. While inside, the machine would leach out the excess power his body was producing to keep him from exploding. In doing so, he became a literal battery that powered the oldest house's infrastructure. This information is classified, and most of the staff simply believe the NSC is a fusion reactor. Once in the past, Northmore broke free from containment and went out on a rampage before being secured again in the new NSC-2. This one is still down in the maintenance sector to this day. Northmore is also still alive, powering the building, but he represents a ticking time bomb that will eventually go off. Instrumental to the forced resignation of Northmore was a field agent who was the next in line. Director Zachariah Trench picked up the service weapon and was forced to go through the binding ritual as set out by the board. It is a form of Russian roulette. By placing the gun to his head, the ritual begins. Ultimately, the board did choose to appoint him. However, anyone applying for the job that is rejected will be literally fired on the spot. After witnessing what happened to Northmore, Trench did not trust paranatural forces. He kept his reliance on objects of power to a minimum, and largely tried to handle things without the board's input. His administration saw a radical shift in the FBC's priorities. While Northmore sought to gain personal power from the paranatural, Trench sought to contain these forces, keeping them from causing harm to anyone. He had a few major advancements during his administration. One was the Panopticon down in the containment sector. This housed all contained objects of power and altered items within Blackrock cells. He devoted resources to study how and why they do the things they do, and if they can be controlled. Trench also put into place a building lockdown intended to keep anything that got free from spreading to other sectors or out the front doors into the world as a whole. This lockdown could only be released by directorial override with the use of the service weapon. At some point during his tenure, Director Trench accompanied a ranger team into a new threshold manifested by the slide projector object of power. While there, a viral resonance slipped inside of him and Trojan horsed his way back to the oldest house. From there, with the influence of an alien entity, he degraded into a state of paranoia and insanity over the course of several years. Guided by the voices in his head, he eventually opened the door to a threshold that is the home reality of the Hiss. This is a viral resonance-based entity which can infect a person. Either the individual is turned into a human relay to extend the range of its signal, or it will break the body into various forms for the purpose of killing new victims or breaking off the HRAs so that they can infect more. They act as the main antagonist of the game. If it were not for his head of research, Dr. Casper Darling, the entire FBC would have been wiped off the map. Darling also brought something back from the hand, a giant thing only known as Hedron, which was the megaphone for another alien resonance. As far as we can tell, this one was benign. It guided him through the steps of creating a way to repel the Hiss's frequency with another one. The fruit of their labor is the Hedron resonance amplifiers. All FBC staff wearing one of these was protected from the Hiss invasion. All those who did not were taken over and twisted into monsters hell-bent on incorporating all the survivors into its choir. This event triggered a building lockdown to stop the spread. The reason for what happens next is not truly known. All we know is that at this point, Director Trench held the service weapon to his head and pulled the trigger. Whether he did it willingly due to guilt, his resignation was forced upon him by the board, or he needed to know if he was still worthy to be the director and decided to go through the binding ritual again, and failing this time, the result is the same. Now the oldest house is on lockdown and there is no director to end it. All survivors are trapped inside of a prison with no ability to escape alongside an alien presence hell-bent on global contamination. One legacy of Director Trench's administration ends up being the saving grace for the Bureau, the Prime Candidate Program. The idea was that he wanted to have a backup plan for a change of administration in the worst-case scenario. When Northmore was forced to resign, there was no one waiting in the sidelines to ascend. He didn't want that to happen again. The Prime Candidate Program was designed to seek out potentials to take his job when the time was right. From what we know, there were 7 candidates in total. We only know of 4 of them. First up is Dr. Yoshimi Takui. He became famous when his guided meditations would create visual hallucinations in the subjects who heard his voice. Even data recordings of his words could replicate this effect. While these recordings can be found in the oldest house, there is no information on whether or not he was brought in to be examined. Another potential candidate is not confirmed. However, at one point in time, the author Alan Wake was considered to be a prime candidate worthy of being invested in. Mr. Wake was, at one point, a staff writer on a TV show called Night Springs. An unaired script that he wrote ended up retelling the incident of the hand threshold. Fictional versions of Director Trench and Dr. Darling were characters in his story, and even the alien intelligence from beyond and the red glow were included. His ability to predict or possibly shape reality was of interest. Despite this, we know he was never brought in for further examination since he vanished in Bright Falls in 2010. The next 2 prime candidates were P6 and P7, Dylan and Jesse Faden. They are siblings that were at ground zero for the Altered World event case centered on the town of Ordinary, Maine. This event involved an object of power called the slide projector. Each slide would create a doorway to other dimensions of reality. Some were benign, some held demonic entities, and one was the aforementioned hand where the siblings met with one resonance known as Polaris. This being infected the siblings, but not in the same manner as the Hiss. More of a symbiotic relationship and less of a parasitic one. Instead of taking them over, Polaris became a passenger in their heads. They developed the traits of a para-utilitarian and with her help, was able to stop the hordes of monsters that came from one slide. In the aftermath, the entire adult population of Ordinary had vanished into thin air, leaving only a scattering of children as survivors. FBC staff arrived to investigate and interview the kids. Jessie, however, was not present as she ran away at the sight of the federal agents. Her greatest regret is leaving her brother behind. Dylan was taken in by the Bureau and kept inside the oldest house as a prime candidate. Being a child, they, let's put it delicately, educated him on the ways of the paranatural world. However, his imprisonment eventually turned to madness. They used him to try and track down his sister, promising to bring her in as well. They experimented on him with objects of power to see how far they could push him. The poor boy was fed a healthy diet of a twisted puppet show called the Threshold Kids. Eventually, he began to see the FBC as his captors and the oldest house as his prison. His frustrations resulted in the deaths of various agents before he was placed in a complete lockdown in the Panopticon as a failed experiment and was considered too dangerous to be released. By the time of the Hiss invasion, his cell was breached and he was infected. However, due to the lingering remnants of the Polaris resonance inside, he was not consumed like everyone else. His mind did fracture and he gained the ability to perceive all realities at once, as if they were dreams. While this was all happening, Jessie Faden was on the run from FBC agents while at the same time trying to find her brother they kidnapped. By 2019, Polaris informed her something big was happening in New York and guided her to the front doors of the oldest house. If it were not for Polaris, the oldest house would not have been visible to her. Despite being on building lockdown, she found her way in. Once inside, she met the mysterious janitor of the house, Ati. The man has been here a long time, arguably since its construction. When Northmore and Ash Jr. first uncovered the foundation back in the 60s, Ati was already there. Since then, he hasn't aged or deviated from his routine. Per his conversation, he considered the FBC director as his personal assistant. Eventually, she came to the door of Director Trench's office just as the gunshot went off. Finding his dead body, she was guided to picking up the service weapon and went through the ritual to become the new director. From here, her story is the plot of Control, systematically undoing the sector lockdowns, binding objects of power to herself to become strong enough to beat back the Hiss, uncovering the Bureau's secrets, and center to it all, finding her brother and shutting off the slide projector a second time to prevent the waves of Hiss flooding into the house. By the end, the burnt slide threshold was closed and Dylan fell into a coma. However, the Hiss inside were still a problem that needed to be resolved. Until that day, the building lockdown had to be kept intact. Since then, 7 long years have passed before any major developments occur. Remedy games take place in the year they are released, so the events of Control Resonant will take place in 2026. A few things have occurred during that time. The staff have begun to lose hope after being forced to remain inside their workplace with no breaks for 7 years. Talks of an insurgency against Director Faden have been discussed. Their conclusion is essentially a vote of no confidence, as they are no closer to seeing their freedom since she ascended the big chair. In 2022, Director Faden authorized the use of altered items as a combat option for agents to utilize. This undoes the executive actions taken by Director Trench to never rely on such powers and opened the door for all kinds of research to be done, which is dubious on whether it is for the best or not. During this time, more threats outside of the Hiss have either developed or escalated. The Furnace in maintenance is getting angrier and burning people who trespass upon its territory. A hostile entity has caused the division and spread of sticky notes that overrides a person's mind when too many stick to the body. After death, they attempt to spread the sticky notes further and infect more people. An invasive leech in the Black Rock Threshold has migrated to the quarry and is eating its way through the mineral reserves. Without Black Rock, weaponry, HRAs, and containment cells cannot be manufactured. The byproduct of the leeches eating the mineral is radioactive. If left unattended, the entire quarry will be a radioactive dead zone that no one can access. On top of this, a few altered items have begun to act up. 2 research staff stole and turned on the antenna loop radio in the hopes that they could create a portal out of the oldest house. Instead, they opened the door to the exogenic mass. This is a semi-conscious and volatile substance that will explode at any mild impact and can take over the minds of those it clings to. The Condor Ascension ski lift demands human sacrifice and is only being fed mannequins, leading to it freezing over an entire area of the Panopticon. Eventually, it could turn the entire house into a freezer, along with anyone inside. Down in the bowels of the research sector, a threshold bearing an invasive mold remains open and is spreading throughout the house. Its aroma is sweet, and imposes an irresistible desire to eat it for those who smell it. Once done, the mold spreads throughout the body, killing the host and animating its body like a puppet with the express purpose of spreading further. At the end of the day, the problems that require routine maintenance are piling up. Our lead janitor, Ati, left on vacation back in 2019, leaving only FBC staff to clean up the mess. The Firebreak Initiative was then formed to respond to these threats. However, it is a losing battle as there is no permanent solution in sight. This brings us up to date with where we are in the story of Control. While this covers maybe 20% of the plot, it gives a good enough foundation to work from for those wishing to get caught up in time for the sequel. We must remember though, the Remedy connected universe is more than just Control. While Remedy has stated Control Resident can be played without any prior knowledge, knowing the full lore will only enhance your experience for when the game finally comes out next year. I highly recommend playing them for yourself. If anyone would like me to continue the series and cover the bare bones lore of those games as well, let me know in the comments. Regardless, I plan to create a video showing the full play order and all multimedia that is required viewing if anyone wants to have a complete deep dive into this ever-expanding universe. For now though, that is all. I will give you back your day now. Thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed, please drop a like and subscribe to receive updates on future uploads. If you would like to help support the channel, a Patreon has been set up and the link is in the description below. Have a great day and peace be with you all.